Let me quickly invite the penultimate speaker for the day. And the session is on educating the Facebook generation. And I would like to invite Mr. Lakshya Babbar, who's from PlanetEDU network. So he will talk about the topic.
Well, a very good afternoon to all of you. After listening to all the wonderful speakers today, this is actually the slide that I would like to show to all of you. It's been a wonderful session throughout, and well, we've been a very good audience. There are very wonderful questions that have come up. And therefore, I don't think I can make it any better in order to re-summarize and try to reinvent the whole wheel. But in order to just quickly tell you what we wanted to communicate, we wanted to tell you about the Facebook generation, and without taking you through many of the slides, I wanted to show you a video, and let's understand what the Facebook generation is actually. I'm sure we have the audio too.
And I made a few apps for the iPhone, iPod Touch, and iPad. I'd like to share a couple with you today. My first app was a unique fortune teller called Earth Fortune that would display different colors of Earth depending on what your fortune was. And my favorite and most successful app is Bustin' Jeeber, which is a Justin Bieber whack-a-mole. I created it because a lot of people at school disliked Justin Bieber a little bit, so I decided to make the app. So I went to work programming it, and I released it just before the holidays in 2010. A lot of people also. A lot of kids these days like to play games, but now they want to make them. And it's difficult because not many kids know where to go to find out how to make a program. I mean, for soccer, you could go to a soccer team. For violin, you could get lessons for a violin. But what if you want to make an app? And the kids' parents might have done some of these things when they were young, but not many parents have written apps. Where do you go to find out how to make an app? Well, this is how I approached it. This is what I did. First of all, I've been programming in multiple other programming languages to get the basics down, such as Python, C, Java, etc. And then Apple released the iPhone, and with it, the iPhone Software Development Kit. And the Software Development Kit is a suite of tools for creating and programming an iPhone app. This opened up a whole new world of possibilities for me. And after playing with the Software Development Kit a little bit, I made a couple apps. I made some test apps. One of them happened to be Earth Fortune, and I was ready to put Earth Fortune on the App Store. And so I persuaded my parents to pay the $99 fee to be able to put my apps on the App Store. They agreed, and now I have apps on the App Store. I've gotten a lot of interest and encouragement from my family, friends, teachers, and even people at the Apple Store, and that's been a huge help to me. I've got a lot of inspiration from Steve Jobs. And I started an app club at school, and a teacher at my school is kindly sponsoring my app club. Any student at my school can come and learn how to design an app. This is so I can share my experiences with others. There's these programs called the iPad Pilot Program, and some districts have them. I'm fortunate enough to be part of one. A big challenge is how should the iPads be used, and what apps should we put on the iPads? So we're getting feedback from teachers at the school to see what kind of apps they'd like. When we design the app and we sell it, it will be free to local districts and other districts that we sell to. All the money from that will go into the local ed foundations. These days, students usually know a little bit more than teachers with the technology. Sorry. So this is a resource to teachers, and educators should recognize this resource and make good use of it. I'd like to finish up by saying what I'd like to do in the future. First of all, I'd like to create more apps, more games. I'm working with a third-party company to make an app. I'd like to get into Android programming and development. And I'd like to continue my app club and find other ways for students to share knowledge with. Thank you.
Well, I guess this video in itself has explained a lot about what we are already talking about. We've been talking about motivated teachers, we've been talking about demotivated teachers, we've been talking about the 21st century skills and the skills that are actually needed for teachers today for keeping the learners engaged in the classroom. When we talk about the Facebook generation, we need to understand what the Facebook generation is, and everybody today is on the Facebook, I'm sure. I'm not sure how many teachers are there on the Facebook, but I'm pretty sure that 99% of the students are definitely there on the Facebook. So Facebook generation comprises of students and children which are digital natives. They are actually born and brought up in the digital environment. They're very familiar with what iPads are, what iPhone is, and many other devices which today the teachers or the educated teachers who are still struggling to get to the same pace with the students. Students today have got a very limited span of attention. They're very impatient, so they're more like rabbits who need carrots at every regular intervals. If you don't give them carrots, I'm sorry, they're not interested. And therefore, they become demotivated learners. They need to be engaged and motivated differently. They're dependent on internet and technology. If there is a new term or a new thing that they hear in the classroom, they'll definitely go back on the internet and try and search about it. And tomorrow when they come back to the classroom, there are many students today who would have interesting questions. We see these ads on the television which are of Bonvita and all, and Kajol struggling to answer the questions of her child. Now that is actually a live example even of the schools today. And because we are involved with multiple schools throughout India, we work with them, and therefore when I visit schools, I happen to get a lot of experience, a different kind of experience from the schools, the teachers, and even the principals, with all due respect to their decisions, the way that they are actually implementing things. But then what happens is that students today are still expelled. They are still punished for using technology. That is something that we don't really understand. Students today are living in the social networking world, and therefore you want or you do not want them, they'll still be on the Twitter, they'll still be on the Facebook. They'll still keep making fun of their schools on the social networking sites. And I was once sitting in a school, and I actually was overhearing a conversation of a child, and the parents called by the principal or probably by the teacher, and the student was being expelled because of the reason that he made a fake ID of the school itself, and therefore because it was a fake ID, a lot of other students actually started commenting on it. Now that was really interesting, and I'm sure there are many fake IDs of many schools and many teachers on the social network. So why don't we actually streamline it? Why don't we actually give them the right direction? That if they have to use the social media, if they have to use technology, why don't they use it in the right direction? So that is what we're trying to emphasize today. What are the challenges for the teachers? We've all been talking about the challenges for the teachers. There are wonderful speakers today who've thrown light, and I'm sure Professor Pant is actually the one who's developing a platform of MOOCs and all that. Teachers are digital migrants, and therefore they struggle a lot with the technology today. They are difficult to keep pace with the developments, with the new apps, and I'm not too sure how many teachers today have developed apps for students which can involve them in their regular curriculum practice. Standard information is available, but in the public domain, but in an interesting manner. So it needs to be streamlined and it needs to be curated in the right manner in order to present it to the students. We all have classroom smart classes in today with the EduComp and many other players coming up. But then what about the teachers? I mean, teachers are actually someone who is getting demotivated and frustrated by the day because of all these technologies coming today. So somebody rightly said that we need to first make the teachers motivated in order to then give them these new stuff to teach in the classroom. They need to keep the learner engaged and challenge them. They need to remain in sync with the learners. And instead of becoming just a good teacher, they need to become a great rock star teacher and provide a wow experience to the students. Well, I'm not really the right person to actually give you the tips for the teachers, but Sir here actually mentioned about Einstein and Newton. I'm sure we've heard about the Newton's first law of inertia. Anybody who's not heard of the law? Great. So in today's world, in the 21st century, we link, I'm actually diversifying from the slide over there, but we link the law of inertia in today's world with the law of learning inertia. So learning inertia is something that Professor Pant actually once was sharing with the audience, and I found it very interesting. The law of inertia says that an object at rest will remain at rest unless acted upon by an unbalanced force. Now, as for the new law of learning inertia, it becomes a learner will remain ignorant in the absence of an encouraging learning intervention. That's a new law of learning inertia. It also says an object in motion continues in motion with the same speed and in the same direction unless acted upon by an unbalanced force, which means in today's world, a motivated learner continues learning unless demotivated by an unpleasant learning experience. So this is actually the summary of what we say, that what are the tips for the teachers. Obviously, they need to use the social media as much as they can, which is just one part of the learning experience. And they need to help the students to become self-directed learners. Now, so becoming self-directed learners would actually not put the teacher into a stress, but it will actually help the teacher to engage with the student and, actually shed a lot of workload as well. We have all these tools coming up with the ICT environment and the smart class for teachers. So this is not something new that I'm talking about. On the whole, a new learning environment and preparing students for the future is what is important today, and therefore giving it a wow experience. This is what we do. We as PlanetEDU Network Private Limited, we work with a lot of schools, we work with colleges, we work with corporates to help them come to the pace and provide them the new age technology or non-technology enabled solutions as well. We offer professional development workshops for teachers with professional support network. We offer workshops for students, which includes obviously the 21st century skills, and there are much more and many more workshops that we offer. International school improvement programs, English language assessments from the University of Cambridge English Language Assessments UK, and CAMLA, which is a collaboration of Cambridge, Michigan and University of Cambridge. We offer championships and awards and recognitions and international exposure to the students. So that's all from my side, because I probably thought I would rather keep it very short and simple. We already have great speakers over here. Thank you so much for being patient and listening to me. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you. So whatever you spoke about the social media aspect, I can reassure you that corporates are no better than the education institutions. We are all experimenting with this new concept of being connected through social media, and the kind of mistakes that education institutions are making, probably even worse are the corporates that are making a humongous amount of mistakes. But yeah, this phenomenon is here to stay, so we'll have to be very, very cautiously, balancing the act, and we have to imbibe, we have to accommodate social media, and we'll have to, give this kind of platform to the students, right from the beginning to higher education, so that they can use it positively. So there's a lot of nuisance going on social media which should not happen. So thank you very much. Okay.